the final topic, guys. The final topic is we're gonna play a game. We need to think of a cool like name for this topic. You know, we have like our publisher praise segment. We have like played on podcast. I don't know. If you think of something, let us know. But this game I found at Half Price Books. It is Unpub, the unpublished published card game. It is designed by J.R. Honeycutt and Doug Lewandowski.
Is that the collector's edition?
This is not the collector's edition. I don't even know if there is a collector's edition. But basically, this game is about designing games, making a pitch to one player who is acting as the publisher. Then they decide who wins. The person who wins gets a card, and first person to 4 cards wins. Apparently, it's a 15 to 30 minute. I can't remember. Let's see. It says 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, if it ends up taking a crazy long time, then we'll just end it prematurely. But on each card, there is going to be 3 different words. There is a theme, a mechanic, and a component. Whoever the publisher is, each person's going to have 5 cards in their hand. The publisher is going to look at one of these cards and decide, like for instance, I take this one. I want you guys to publish or design a game about the Great Depression. So then each of you are going to have 5 cards in your hand, and you have to make up the other 2 categories that aren't picked. So I picked theme, meaning that you have to pick a mechanic and a component. So you have all 3 things that you're going to throw into your pitch. You can take them both from one card. So for instance, this card has fantasy as the theme, pattern building as the mechanic, and map as the component. You could take the mechanic and the component from this card, or you can spread them across 2 cards. But you are going to go over all 3 of these things in your pitch. And so you're going to say some stuff, name your game, talk about something cool, be funny, whatever you want to do. And then whoever the publisher is, after they've heard each player's pitch, they make a decision, and they're going to give you a card as the prize. The back of the card is like a contract that basically says you can publish a game with us now. That's really hard to hold up there. But, and then we just keep doing that. Whoever wins gets to be the next publisher. Matt looks very scared, apparently.
Mortified.
Yeah. I'm there with you, Matt.
So
Here, you want this one?
Oh, sure. Basically, the game comes with a deck of cards. I think it's like 60 or something. I don't even know. What does it say on here? It comes with... I know I read it at some point. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. It comes with a deck of cards. We're just going to put them right here.
Oh, we got some blank ones we can write whatever we want on?
I didn't include those in the game, but it would have been funny.
Make your own.
You can write whatever you want. So, who wants to be the first publisher? Me, gotcha. So,
All right.
let me look through our cards here, and we're going to say... I'm just going to be ridiculous. I would like, as a publisher, a game about dancing.
About dancing, all right.
Dancing. So these 2 guys are going to look through the rest of the cards, and they got a few seconds. I'm just going to talk while we're doing this because they need to prepare. But like I said, they're going to choose a card that will give a mechanic, and they're also going to choose a card that's going to give a component. Both of these things can be on one card, but they can be across 2 cards. And whenever anybody's ready, say I'm ready.
All right, do we need a title for this game?
It would work better. It would work to your benefit to include a title.
Oh, benefit, all right.
Because I get to pick it if the title's super clever. That might be dope. Or if it's super funny.
It's dancing, right?
It's dancing.
It's dancing, yeah. There's not going to be a time limit, but essentially 30, 40 seconds or whatever you want to do. Eric,
All right.
pitch your game to me, sir.
So my game is called Do the Cha-Cha, right? So in this game, it's a co-op play, and that's one of my cards, and that you're playing together, and you're trying to do different dance moves, right? So you're going to have some dice, and behind your player screen, you're going to be rolling these dice.
It's like you're throwing quotes up this card.
Yeah, on my next card. So you're trying to, decide on the type of dances that you have, and they're going to be on different dice, and you're going to get together and try to make some moves, and, you might have a board that says, you come out with these type of dice, and it's gonna have a real time element in it. So you're like, all right, I'm gonna do this kind of, I need a blue, and you're trying to, I don't know, make dice sets to do this spectacular dance.
Interesting. It's called Dancing Dice, and we just heard about it, Eric.
Shut it.
Maybe not the real time element, but
Right.
Matt, what you got for me?
I chose real time and 6-sided dice. I guess essentially
It's Eric's game.
you'll have a list of moves, and in real time you can try and roll your dice until you get certain combos. The better combo you get, I guess, the better move you pull off.
All right, China.
And
This
then-
is gonna go to Eric.
But my game's called
Do the
Stomp.
cho-cho.
Do the cho-cho.
All right, Eric went first, so he wins this basically.
Good job, Eric.
Way to steal everything I was about to say.
Do we get more cards?
Yeah,
or
we get more cards here.
Do we discard all 5 or just
No,
one
no,
we
just
used?
you just get
Or we just get one?
you replace the cards. So you
I
should
need
have
two.
5 cards.
All right, I use 2 cards.
Okay, so you get one more. All right, Eric, you're going to be the next publisher since you won. So choose a card. You don't have to choose theme. You can choose any of the 3 things. And then we're
Right.
going to have to determine what's going on. And then Eric's going to commentate
Sure.
while we're picking cards for 10, 15 seconds so that there's not a bunch of silence.
All right, so I guess the bottom one is component.
Yes.
Is that right? So the component in your game has to include a tiara.
A tiara?
Tiara. Yeah, so I'm guessing this game is, maybe, I don't know, maybe help you guys out. Maybe it's for some kids, or maybe it's a game, you could do it. Kid game about getting rings and a tiara and not getting caught by the black ring. Maybe don't do that. That's where we're at, guys.
All right. I'm ready. Matt,
All right.
you can keep thinking.
Go ahead.
This is Matt's comfort zone right here. All right, so my game's going to be called The Tiara of Cthulhu. So I'm using Cthulhu as my theme, and I'm using balancing as the mechanic. So this tiara is going to be suspended in air, and you have to take crazy cultist. One person's trying to place cultists on it. The other person's trying to place people to fight the cultists, but it's a balancing act, which is what I put balancing. So it's a dexterity based game about Cthulhu, and the shape, the whole component is in the shape of a tiara because you're trying to become the queen of the underworld. Maybe I'll elaborate on that. One person is trying to, they're the traitor. They're trying to be the queen of the underworld, and everybody else is trying to stop them.
Fair enough. Matt, are you ready?
Yes. My game, I'm using royalty and bluffing and lying to incorporate the wonderful game of Pretty Pretty Khaleesi. You are set in the world of Fire and Ice, and yes, we played George R. R. Martin for these license to be able to publish this. And but essentially, you've got different, pieces of jewelry you could wear, tiara being one of them. But you're trying to get the cool set. I guess it'd be a tiara, and maybe there'd be a goblet, and what would be one more thing?
Dragons?
Maybe a sword. Oh, eggs. You got eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs.
Why am I helping him?
So, you're trying to get all this stuff in front of you so you could be the Khaleesi.
Yeah.
And but in order to get all that, it's eventually you're using the bluffing and lying and stuff. So it's essentially, I guess it would kind of be like a werewolf style game where you just lie your way to become the Khaleesi. And even though she didn't really lie to become it, but
You're going to in this game?
that's what you're going to do in this game.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I like it, Matt. I'm gonna give that one to you.
All right.
All right, Matt deserves it.
I think
was-
I got it on name alone. So
What I'm trying to egg him on and be like, yeah, that's great. That's a good idea. That's definitely that's a cash grab right there. Bam.
Yeah.
How many cards y'all spend?
One.
I spent 2, and Matt, you get to choose a card.
do I use my card or does it matter?
Use any of your 5 cards.
But
Yeah.
and it's
And-
used.
Yeah,
It
you're
is-
gonna spin
it's a
this
used
card.
card.
So if you got something else on it you like,
we're
don't
gonna
do that.
We're
All
gonna
right.
win it.
Let's do it. We're going with animals
Animals
Animals as what?
as your theme.
Oh,
as our
theme?
theme. All right, Matt, give us some commentary while we're
Oh yeah.
choosing.
So obviously I like critters and animals, so might use that to your advantage. And you all know the type of animals I like, so this could be interesting. You know what my pets are. Actually, I think I like about all animals. So
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go since I'm ready.
you got it.
So whoever got their thing ready first will just go.
Yeah.
All right.
So the poor person commentating. All right, so we got a theme about animals. We have player elimination, and we're using crystals, and we're gonna call this food chain magnate crystals. No, wait. Animal food chain magnate. So an animal food chain magnate, players are trying to kill each other because, not cannibalism, food chain,
Food chain.
right? The food chain. So obviously some people are up on the food chain, but the people who are lower on the food chain have all these crystals, and the crystals are actually worth points. So you're trying to basically, I'd say the dudes on a map, Animal Kingdom style, asymmetrical play, because somebody's trying to eat a bunch of people and steal their crystals. The other person is just trying to defend, turtle up, get it?
Mhm.
Anyway, there you go. Animal food chain magnate.
Mine is called Animals. And more animals.
And more animals.
So it's a drinking game that comes with a book. Right? So really this game is a type of trivia game, but every time you get it wrong, you have to take a drink. And so you're forced to pay attention while you're starting to get really drunk, but it's hard to do so. And the more you get wrong, the more you have to drink.
Eric, I hate drinking games. Because they are the epitome of poor get poorer.
Yes, it is.
Poor get poor.
Yes, because you make a mistake, you have to take a drink.
Drink.
Now you're going to complete the task worse, and
Right.
it just gets worse from there. So Tim will win this one.
Ah,
Sorry.
I got a point, Eric. Do we all have one?
I need one.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I'm taking your card. How many?
Oh,
cards?
yeah.
Yeah, I just put the deck over there because it'll be easier for me to
Did
just
you
reach.
did you refill?
I did.
Okay.
All right, so we are going to talk about, you know what? Something that could potentially be one of my favorite mechanisms, and that's chit pulling.
Chit
Sounds so
pulling.
offensive, but yes, chit pulling, like pulling tokens out of something, which could be different based on the component you choose. It could just be a bag, but I'm a very big fan of like bag building and pulling things out of it. Specifically chits, though. You can't do a dice building game because that's not what we're talking about. You got to pull chits out of it.
All right.
Eric, you ready?
Yep. Just kind of thinking of a good title for this.
You can make it up
Mine
halfway
is
through.
called
Oh, is this your mechanism? Sorry.
This is a mechanism.
A
yes.
mechanism?
Going Gone. So it's a chit point game.
Is this related to going, gone?
Oh no, much different. So it's a superhero game that
What
incorporates
what are your things first?
superhero
Okay.
themed, and it uses a dreidel.
I feel like as the publisher, I'm supposed to pick something to make it hard. Eric's just like,
So,
that was good.
dreidel. Right. So it's called Going Gone, right? Because you're pulling these chits out of this bag. It's going to give you certain superpowers, and what you have to do is you have to take this dreidel, and you're doing that dreidel on the table, and you have to do your turn and all your actions with all these chits to do whatever this
That's cool. It's only a 30-second
yeah.
pitch. It's good.
So you only have that amount of time to do all your actions, So you might have 2 minutes,
you
as
could have
long
30
as,
seconds.
or 30 seconds, depending on how long your dreidel lasts. But you have to put all these stuff around the table, so you could bump into stuff, and so you got to do it really fast because sometimes it's gonna hit stuff and you only have 10 seconds. So that's why it's called going on, because you're gonna go and then all of a sudden you're done.
Fair enough. What you got for me, Matt?
Man, I had a really good name, but it does not fit with my theme. Let me double check.
Name supersedes.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, name might come later. But essentially, I've got a miniature game.
Oh, here we go.
We're going to pull chits out, and the chits will be your actions to make. And it's science and nature, so it is an animal fighting game. You've got animal miniatures. You can pull out your tokens to maybe do some. Maybe you have to eat stuff to get energy to be able to fight, and it sounds really convoluted, but I think it'll work.
That's fair. I think I'm going to give this to Eric specifically based on the fact that using a dreidel as a timer actually sounds like a cool idea.
Right?
Does the dreidel actually have a game to it, or is it just
It's a game.
Is it a
Dreidel,
timer?
dreidel,
Like you
dreidel.
spin it?
No, I think it has markings on it, and it depends on what it lands on.
Kind of like a die roll?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, could you imagine having a top in your game? And
I
it's
could
like
be wrong.
You are in control of how long you get on your turn by spinning this thing.
I do have a dreidel game. I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe I'll bring it by.
That might
I'm
be
not sure what
interesting.
you do with it, but it has a dreidel mechanism in it.
Interesting. Well, I mean, either way, using a top or a dreidel
I don't
as
think
a
it's a
timer,
timer, but yeah.
that sounds fascinating. I mean, it sounds really bad for some people, but it sounds fascinating. So Eric wins this. He has 2 cards, and he gets to be the next publisher. So what you got for us, Eric?
Okay. My thing is going to be... Your theme is about advertising.
Advertising. Talk it out for us.
So, I think there's a lot of games about advertising, but I don't want to hear those types of games, guys, because that's already been done. So, bring up something unique that hasn't been done, hopefully. And hopefully it would be entertaining. Advertised to me
All right.
about your advertising game.
I really thought this through, so here we go.
All
Here we
right.
go. I'm going to start. So we got advertising. My mechanism is going to be role selection, and the component is coffee beans. So you're going to be advertising to be the best coffee house. We'll call this Starbucks.
Who's China now?
Yeah.
So in Starbucks, you're trying to make coffee advertising to get your store to do the best. The role selection comes in the fact that you can choose to play an asymmetrical role. So you can choose to be the manager of your place and trying to do the advertising that way, or you can maybe be a worker if you want to, or you can actually be the advertiser, or you can be the social media expert who advertises through that. And then you're trying to just promote, make money, sell coffee. That's the tagline right there. Bam.
There you go.
What you got, Matt?
I hate this game. So mine has got auction and bidding and a draw bag. I guess since we're trying to, it's about advertising. Is that what this game,
Yes.
this wonderful game that we're trying to come up with is about? Again, it's an unnamed game. So you got the draw bag that you could pull potential advertising products out of, and I guess maybe you'd have a board that might have like some kind of ratios depending on the different things you would pull out, and maybe try and get different advertising spots during certain shows. I guess you could even have like a grid or something for different shows. So like obviously if you're going to advertise like during the Super Bowl or something like that, it'd be a little bit more cost worthy. It really, this is not making any sense at all. So I'm confusing myself talking about this. I don't think anything I just said goes together.
No, it was working out
So
pretty
give
well.
Tim his card so we can speed this up.
All right, Tim, there you go. Matt wants on the next round.
Matt, you'll come back. You'll come back. I have 2 cards. I don't even know where I put that one, so I'm gonna do this over here. All right, here we go. We're gonna do a card game, or not a card game. You can do whatever you want, but this game is gonna be about alien invasions, which I feel like is a theme that probably could use a little bit more games based around. I mean, you know, obviously we got 300 million games about zombies, and then 300 million games about fantasy. But how many games do we actually have about alien invasions? There's Mars Attacks. I can't name another one. I guess there's that dice game that Steve Jackson came out with, which was called, gosh, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It's kind of like zombie dice, but
you
it's
get
like
the cows
you're
and stuff.
capturing the cows. Yeah.
All right, I got it. It's called Aliens from Outer Space.
You lose, Matt. Congrats.
So no, this is a dice rolling game with collectible dice.
What are your show?
Dice rolling with collectible dice. Those are my.
Hold on, one's a mechanic. Oh, in the gotcha.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So in this game, you know, it's kind of like you have to buy packs to get all these you know, collectible dice that do different things. So you have different types of infantry or tanks or whatever that you're trying to keep these aliens from taking over the planet. So you're getting all these different types of things that you're going to fight these aliens with, and you're going to roll, and you're going to kill those aliens.
That's amazing. Matt, what you got?
I think I might actually win this one. My game is called Alien Magnate. So what it is you are some aliens that like to harvest humans for whatever. Maybe you feel like probing. Maybe you feel like you harvest them for their body parts, whatever. But it is a roll and move. So that part's kind of cheesy sounding. But I am using magnets. And what happens is you're moving along,
Alien
and there will be like a second board that will have the aliens that are the magnets moving along, and of course your people are metal, and if they move above your person, they'll like pull you up to them, and you only have like 4 lives probably, and
Probably.
who can ever get across the county border before the aliens get you wins.
Matt wins this one.
All right, fair enough.
I will add that there was a game I think that came out.
It did do
Essen
that, yes.
That maybe not with
They
the
had it at
magnets
Gen
and
Con
stuff.
where it sucked them up.
Yeah,
it was
but
like a vacuum or
It was
something.
a vacuum that sucked the meeples up.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
That sounded really cool. I like the idea of the magnets though, because you don't know they're there, right?
Right.
That's awesome. All right, Matt. Publisher, what do you want us to design for you?
I might do that one for you guys. That kaiju
What
is your theme.
Oh man, kaiju is
Like
a what?
Godzilla?
Oh, is it Godzilla?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it is, right? Kaiju?
Yeah.
That's big monsters.
Cool.
Oh, and I guess I got to fill space with I'm super pumped about the new Godzilla movie coming out. So I don't know when exactly it comes out.
I got this.
He's
I got
got
this.
All right.
But
all right.
Eric,
take
you-
it. No, go ahead.
You want to go first?
No.
Oh
no,
man,
I'm
maybe it's a detriment
kinda-
for me to keep going first. My game's gonna be called The Rampage of the Kaiju, and it uses engine building, which is my mechanism, along with a smartphone app. So instead of having miniatures, you actually take your phone and plop it in this base, and you actually move your phone around on this board, and he gets close to stuff, and maybe it has some sort of QR reading, so if it's close to something, it will like animate your character or whatever. But you're trying to engine build by basically destroying the city and collect resources that you can, maybe like an alien type of kaiju, they can use that stuff to refine into immediate weaponry, right? So you're building things to build weapons out of thin air, and they just shoot each other, and it would be cool because they'd have a lot of cool animations on the phones. Dope.
So mine is called Defeat the Kaiju. It's a pick up and deliver game that uses lasers, right? So you go around and you're gathering all these resources, and you have to get these resources back to these different hubs that have, where your lasers are at, and you have to get certain materials to make those lasers work, and you have to have certain ones working in order to hit the kaiju at the same time in order to defeat them.
Got you. So you're trying to fight the kaiju off.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We'll give it to Eric.
Cool. What'd you think about the smartphone being your character?
I like that.
It's kinda like-
it was pretty neat.
the World of Yoho,
Yeah.
where your phone is actually your
The ship or whatever.
moving around.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool. It'd be a cool, interesting. All
Oh, this is a good one, guys.
right, do it.
This one's about kung fu.
Kung fu
That's the
fighting.
theme?
That's the theme.
That's actually the example in the book too.
Oh, there you go.
It-
Tim's way ahead already.
I already know what to do. What did they say? So Matt, they said kung fu you can include with let's see, blah blah blah. Kung fu you can add deduction and score tracker.
If you have that, Matt.
Yeah, if you have that, you insta win.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Talk, Eric.
Oh yeah. So kung fu is a pretty cool theme. Has been a couple games that it has incorporated kung fu. One that comes off the top of my head was Ninja Camp. That's a good one, and it also incorporates critters. So when I said we haven't played a lot of critter games, maybe we have. We just haven't really thought.
Do you own that game?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What game is it?
Ninja Camp. So it wasn't too bad. I liked it. It's still around, so maybe I'll bring it to game night next week. Tim's ready.
my
It's gonna be funny.
My game's called Ah! which was really loud in the headsets.
Yeah.
But it's a game about kung fu where the mechanic is yelling louder, and the component is pins like needles.
Oh, okay.
The idea would be you're choosing cards, and depending on what cards you choose, you might be able to win that bout between you and your opponents, which will allow you to stab them with needles, and they might yell loud. But the idea is you don't want to yell loud. So whoever doesn't yell loud, the louder you yell, the more the other people at the table can be like, oh no, you're taking a lot of damage from that. So it's kind of like got this Rochambeau thing going on.
Mm.
There we go. It's going, ah!
Cool.
Congrats, Matt.
I don't have anything.
Kung Fu.
I cannot
Kung Fu,
come up
man.
with
Kung Fu.
anything
You
for
got a couple
this.
more seconds.
got-
me
you
and
got-
Tim will
you
talk
got-
about.
We'll talk about
So in this game, Tim, are you?
I don't think they yell hi-ya in Kung Fu, which is
Alright.
kind of funny, but keep going.
Yeah, they do
Yeah,
that.
That's like more of karate.
Yeah, well, Kung Fu does the kind of the same kind of dialogue.
You think
or not
so?
dialogue, but
I don't think they make any noises.
I cannot come up with anything.
get some more extra cards
Yeah,
back. Here,
extra
here,
cards,
two more cards
extra
back.
cards, Matt.
Here, Matt, you got this.
Matt, you got it. You got it. You got it. Actually, just choose one.
Yeah.
I'll help you out.
Okay.
All right.
You got something?
Here, try this, Tim. Try deduction and measuring tape.
Use a different component. A measuring
No,
tape could be cool though. No,
Yeah.
a measuring tape, you do that in miniature games. There you go. You measure to move. There you go. Have fun
And
with that.
Kung Fu.
And Kung
That's-
Fu.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Yashima, right there.
Yashima, it didn't use a measuring tape, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a game called Alchemy, which is a miniature game
Mm.
that was kind of like Kung Fu. It took all those kind of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all those types of games, and made it into a card game based miniature game where you actually is like more like paper, rock, scissors. I choose a heavy attack or a low attack or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you choose to rebuttal with your card. We pick at the same time and flip them over, and then depending on the outcome of that, you might get more dice or less dice on your attack
Oh.
because they might counter attack your hit and stuff
Right.
like that. So,
Got it.
all right, let's do it.
Bam! Bam.
This is called America's Got Kung Fu. And it's using judging and a score tracker.
There you go.
And the whole game is just doing your best kung fu poses, crane kicks, doing your monkey Stance and Drunken Master,
So it's Kung Fu charades.
and
Yeah.
somebody judges you and you get score tracker.
I like it, Matt. I do.
Do not give me this card.
Now that's really good, Matt.
No, that's good because then you can just be a
Persistent.
publisher.
Yeah, man, that was good.
Oh,
That took a little bit of time, but sometimes good ideas take time.
Oh my god.
You're the next publisher, though.
Yeah.
Choose something cool.
Okay, here. Let's use make a game using Velcro.
Velcro, that's the middle
That's the
one, right?
component. No.
That's the component.
Oh,
the bottom.
component.
Velcro. Gotcha.
All right, you keep talking, Matt. You keep
Velcro.
talking.
I believe it was possibly invented by mistake. I think maybe they were trying to.
Most inventions are.
I think they were trying to figure something else out and came up with Velcro. I could be wrong on that, but something in my mind. But either way, Velcro is very useful. It helped me tie my shoes at an early age.
All right, I got something.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Yeah, mine's called "Let's Get It On."
Is this going to be appropriate?
Yes. So it is a dinosaur player versus player combat game where you get cards that give you special equipment, and then with that, you're going to from this big box of stuff you're going to add that equipment to yourself. So you might have, they're going to be foam, but you might have a spiky tail or big teeth.
Are we actually turning into the dinosaur?
Oh yeah. And it's like actual player versus player combat, and then you're gonna fight it out.
This sounds dangerous.
Yeah. So then you're gonna go into the octagon basically, and you're gonna battle each other, and the other people are gonna watch and
Is
see
the
who
octagon
does.
included?
No.
No.
That it would be cool, but that would cost too much money. So you're
Collector's
gonna
edition?
Yeah, collector's edition. Yeah, yes, exactly. So you're gonna go and you're gonna kind of mimic fight this out. You're like, I got big teeth, I'm gonna chomp on you, and the other guy's like, I got big tail that with spikes on it, and he's gonna whirl and hit you.
So it's essentially Super Fight, but we acted out, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, mine's called Velcube. Kind of like Velcro Cube, right? Velcrobe. Well, anyway, it is an abstract game, that's the theme, using route building, which is my mechanic, which obviously incorporates Velcro. So you have this giant, maybe 12 by 12 cube that floats in the air. Obviously, it'd be on a stick, because otherwise it'd be impossible. But you take turns, kind of like in Blockus, where you have a bunch of different pieces of different sizes, but the cube is one part of the Velcro. All your pieces are the opposite part of the Velcro, and you have to put them on this. It's freeform. It's not like squares or anything, and you have to take turns placing all your pieces on there. But obviously, you want to make a route, so you have to connect all your things together, but you have to be able to do it without running into other people's Velcro. Abstract Velcro cube. Velcrube.
Okay, so we'll
Those-
give it to Tim so we can keep going.
How many you got, Eric?
Got 3.
How many you got, Matt?
3.
Oh, wow. All right, tiebreaker. Oh, and it's with me. I can't even win the game.
That's right.
Flaw. Flaw. All right, so I can't even win this game. All right. I don't think it's about winning, people. It's
It is
about
not.
design.
about
It's about the
journey.
experience.
It's about this. All right. Do I give it to Matt or do I give it to Eric? Let's see. I
Depending on
could
the-
choose deck building. All right, I gotta really think about this, because basically this could be the Kingmaker, but maybe not.
That's why I didn't want to be the kingmaker and just give it to Eric.
Oh, that's fair.
He's gonna make you do it.
Here
Choose a
we go.
winner.
Oh no, that's kind of. What do you think? No, that's kind of cheesy. I was gonna choose blank cards.
Make your own game.
Yeah, it's pretty much like too much. We're gonna use plastic interlocking brick system. So Legos.
Okay. As
No,
That's the component?
Matt plays all kinds of. Hold on. No, we're not gonna do that. We gotta make this way more interesting for a final bout. Let's do. Man, these are just. Give me more cards.
I was gonna say, do you want the whole deck?
yeah,
Give me the whole deck. Let's end this on an awesome note here. Ooh, steampunk. Somebody talk.
Oh, so yeah, there's a lot of different cards. And actually, there is a lot of different mechanics and stuff. So the people that made this game actually, you know, I'm not saying they made a good game, but they know about games at least.
Oh, J.R. Honeycutt's made all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't recognize his name. Do you know offhand?
You met him. We
Oh,
played
yeah, he was-
Fireball Island.
That guy.
That guy.
That
Might
didn't
wanna-
sound very
You
nice.
might want to elaborate on that a little bit.
No, that's fine. All right.
Does that make you dislike the game even more? now?
No, that's the same.
Here we go. Pogs.
Pogs.
Doing it with Pogs.
Uses Pogs.
That's the component.
Yeah.
Yep.
The reason I thought that was actually cool is because one of my favorite collectible games, I didn't like how it was collectible, but it was called Clout Fantasy, which didn't really use Pogs. It more or less used poker chips, but whatever. And you would throw them on a table. It's like you build a deck of them, and it's kind of like Magic in a way. But you would take turns in a dexterity element where you throw it on the table. You would put bases out or whatever, and you're trying to get as many guys within your limit of your, or within the range of your base to score extra points at the end of the game. But everybody only throws in their 15 chips. Once everybody's thrown their 15 chips, you count how many clout points you have. You get bonuses for being close to your base. And whoever has the most points is the winner. So that was pretty cool. I guess another Pog game is Puzzle Strike, which we actually never played, but I always
No.
wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
I probably wanted to buy that like 20 times, but always been like, it's always been the B selection for my bag or my shopping cart. So anybody ready? Or am I just talking this out?
Mm-hmm.
Talk it out.
What else uses Pogs in games? Like actual Pogs. You know what? I had this really cool idea. And if anybody else has a podcast or a publishing company or anything like that, tell me what you think.
And wants to actually design any of these games we're talking about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yes.
now, yeah, right.
Send
Yeah.
us a
Check us out.
message.
Or at least give us some kind of mention. But Epic Gaming Night, Roy Canaday made Pogs for his show because he was like, let's get Pogs back in there. And he wanted to get people to make their own Pogs, etc. That's such a cool idea. I think there could be a little bit more elaboration on this game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Make it a little bit cooler, like actually add stats or do something kind of like Clout Fantasy did where you actually have like placement. It's not just playing Pogs and hitting a stack of stuff.
All right. Just quickly give me the gist of Pogs because I actually never played Pogs. I know you get like a stack of these Pogs.
It's been a while since I played, but essentially I think you bring your Pogs, everybody brings their Pogs, you stack them all up in this big tower, and you take turns throwing what's called a slammer, which is basically a really heavy Pog
Mm-hmm.
at that stack, and anything that goes outside of the ring you keep.
Okay.
And that's it. Whoever collects the most stuff wins, but I'm pretty sure that you keep everything that you knock out. So the idea was supposed to be like it traded stuff all the time because if you knock a lot of things out, you get to keep those, which necessarily may not be the stuff you brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just it's kind of like that. There was no real rules. I mean, there were real rules, but it's not like it was elaborate. So I'm going to call time on this. Eric, you're starting.
All right, I'm going to go.
Finish it up for us.
So this is a game, and we'll get to the...
I'm glad it is a game.
It has a board. So it's a storytelling game, right? And it's in the medieval
Eric got all serious when he said
time frame.
it's a
Yes.
storytelling game, guys.
So you're gonna bring your Pogs, and they're gonna depict different things. They might have a sword or a shield or an apple or whatever else, and you're putting all these Pogs in the center. And it kind of plays like Pogs. So you're gonna slam it, and how you play the story is, and you can go for certain ones as well. Like, oh, I want to incorporate that apple, so you're gonna try to hit that apple out, but you're gonna try to get, say, 3 to 4 different Pogs out of that circle, and then you must incorporate those into your story element, just like we're kind of doing. And yep, just like a lot of the other story games.
So it's a storytelling game where you decide your words and stuff using Pogs.
Right, using Pogs, and you have all the Pogs in the middle, and it's kind of dexterity-wise because
And
you
it had
have
a
to...
medieval theme?
Yeah, all of it's medieval.
Cool.
Yeah. So you're trying to get certain ones out, but you can mess up and get a frog. So you really wanted a story about this apple, but now you have to change out your story and incorporate a frog in it.
What you got for us, Matt?
My game is called Great Scott, and it is I'm using time travel and set collection. So basically, we're going to pay for more licensing and get the Back to the Future license. And it's fairly simple. All you're doing is using your Pog to knock them down. But I'm looking for them to, you stack them in one direction, and they have to turn over a certain way outside of the ring. And you're trying to add up to 1.2 gigawatts. Yeah, that's basically it.
Back to the Future is pretty sweet. Storytelling with
theme.
Pogs is very unique, though. I don't know. I think we all win this, guys.
There we go.
Yay.
It's not about winning or losing. So we'll leave you with that cliffhanger. But let's talk about this game real quick. Obviously, this is not our strong suit.
Oh, no.
These are not games that we typically gravitate towards. As a matter of fact, if you've been listening to the podcast, I think all the storytelling games or, item pitches or idea pitch games we've played on the podcast. Like
Right.
literally all of them. We this between Before There Were Stars,
And we do pretty poorly.
Super Fight. I think we're getting better. We're
Yeah.
getting better.
Are we?
I don't know. Are we? doing better?
Are we?
You know what this could use as an alternate? But wait, there's more type of thing where it's like, Eric,
wait, there's
I
more.
really liked it, but can you include a blindfold? And you're like, sure.
You do it while you're blindfolded.
Yeah. Or Matt, I really like that, but can you incorporate some cinema as the theme?
I have a hard enough time going
Yeah.
second and having lots of extra time to come up with the garbage I'm doing, and you expect me to come up with something on the fly that you just throw at me. Probably not going to happen.
Cool variant, but maybe not
Cool variant.
auto
Yeah.
include in the game. If you played this many times, that would be a cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
This might be one of the only games that I would actually use these blank cards for, and I feel like they could have included more than two.
Sure.
The only thing the main thing I don't like about this game, which doesn't have anything to do with anything, but the card stack is actually thicker than the actual box, and you can't put the cards next to each other in two stacks.
Oh,
So
really?
How did they sell it?
I bet it double.
No, look,
No, it doesn't.
that does not double
Oh,
stack.
wow.
Look at that, and there's like, I mean, you're not sleeving this, and there at least 6 or 7 cards pop off the top, so the box isn't going to close all the way.
How is that even possible?
Nah,
Right. That's what I'm saying. How did they sell it?
It's probably just it closes. You know what I'm saying? It's just that you can feel, like, this is without the rule book, so feel it.
Yeah, it's not shut all the way. It's
Right. And it came sealed, so
Hmm.
Dice hate me.
yeah, this is actually, I think Dice Hate Me was purchased by Greater Than Games,
Right.
so it is Greater Than Games. But it's interesting. I never knew what this was. I thought it was just like a bunch of components that you can kind of design a game with. That's what I initially thought it was, so I never looked into it. I didn't know it was like a party style idea thinking thing,
Mm-hmm.
which honestly could be pretty neat, because I mean there were some things that we said that I actually thought, like for instance,
Hey.
using the top as a spin,
Mhm.
like as a timer. That's actually a cool idea. I don't think it would make a great game. It would make
Right.
a entertaining and fun game, like
Yeah.
maybe a kid style game where you're like, all right, here you go, flick, or kind of like make it to where you could, everybody has one, you spin them like battle tops, but as you're doing it, your real time element playing stuff on each other. Like, so the idea is that sparked a really cool thought pattern that you can go off of.
Sure. Maybe actually publishers get together and actually play this game.
Maybe
It's like,
they probably have.
hey, that was a good idea. You just came out, let's go with it.
Yeah. So I think the game has its place. It probably is very niche,
Mm-hmm.
because if people aren't that familiar with a lot of games, they're not going to have a lot of cool ideas, I don't think, or be able to incorporate stuff like Velcro. Not saying I did a great job at that, but Velcro is a really hard component to include in anything
Right.
without cop out. Like, oh, the box has a Velcro lid that closes on the side. So anyway, it was interesting. It was only $2 on clearance. So we got our
Money's worth.
money's worth of it. So anyway, anything else? Anything else you want to talk about it?
No, that's it.
No.
You want to play it again next time?
No.
It's not a dig against the game, but it is very specific. I think they know that.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Right.
the game's horrible. I'm just bad at it and I don't enjoy it. So
We're going to keep subjecting Matt to these type of games. Look, if you got a game idea that we could play on the podcast that you don't need to visually see anything, think of it more or less from a podcast perspective, definitely email us at meeplecore@gmail.com. Email us, text us on social media, whatever you want to do. I am more than willing to purchase a game to play on the podcast because I think it's an interesting topic. Let us know otherwise if you don't like it. But so far, the couple of comments that we have gotten, it was, I was entertained by it. So it seems to be working out. Not that we have a crazy deep audience, but at the same time, or a crazy amount of audience. But anyway,